All right, hello and welcome to Penn State League's coverage of the C-Star League of Legends playoffs. Where today our match between Penn State Division II and Johns Hopkins University Blossom will be starting up here in just a second. I'm Sioka, joined here today by Vale, and we're going to come
Hello?
here to cast some good collegiate League of Legends. We're just waiting on some pro draft ready-ups.
Yeah, this should be an interesting game. I know a lot about the Penn State D2 team, but basically nothing about the Johns Hopkins University Blossom, besides looking at their multi.gg briefly about a minute ago.
Yep. Luckily, we're playing on 11.5, so a little bit of a different patch, but all the big changes that came in 11.4 for the jungle and stuff have already hit the professional scene, so we do have a little bit better of an idea of like maybe some meta picks we'll be seeing here. Especially I think jungle in particular has risen quite a bit in priority since those changes. For early lock-ins, like Udyr's still really good, Hecarim's still really good. Depending on certain comps, you still have the Lilia as well, so lots of things.
Yeah.
Whereas you don't necessarily need to be one Kai'Sa every game anymore.
Yeah, I actually am of the opinion that B1ing Kai'Sa is actually pretty bad.
I think it's really bad right now, yeah. I'm agreeing there.
She only fits into like one style of comp, which is like hard dive with CC. Otherwise, she just doesn't fit really with anything else. Other really good B1s right now, Seraphine, obviously, even though the nerf's still probably the best champion in the game, can in theory be quadriflexed, top, mid, bot, and support. Karma, another one that can be quadriflexed in theory. Gragas, still really strong in 4 roles, I'd say, still.
Yeah,
top, rumble, mid, support.
Pseudo jungle, actually, interestingly enough, is probably one of the harder ones you can fit it in right now, to be completely honest.
Other ones, I think Senna still pretty strong despite the nerf to the interaction between Crack and Rageblade on her.
Yep. I think it's more safe. You again, it's like Kai'Sa right now. You can't really blind the Senna anymore. Can definitely be abused in lane. Still can shut down things like the Vayne, which I think in solo queue is probably one of the strongest AD carries on the patch. Vayne and Ezreal have really come up on 11.5 with some buffs, some item changes, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think they're good counter picks. Another pick that we might see today is Sivir, who's been getting a lot of picks due to her versatility now, because she can go the standard crit attack speed build, but she can also go like a lethality build now with Manamune. Where she essentially functions similarly to Poke Varus.
Yeah,
so
I think
we'll see how that
probably the more common pick here, as we are going to get in the draft.
Syndra being taken away first. Syndra, strong champion. If you're good enough with her, basically can win every lane. Has no real counters if you can pilot her. Very early dominance. Fiddlesticks being taken away from Mooch, probably his best champion. Kai'Sa being taken away. Don't really like the Kai'Sa being taken away, but AD carries believe that it is an extremely strong champion, and I understand why. One of the only AD carries that feels good to play. With Fiora definitely probably one of the best top laners right now with the nerf, with the buff to her passive. Lilia, I'd say the best jungler in the game, being taken away.
Yeah, you still can definitely go the Moonstone build as well as full damage with Leandries. To really get some stuff going. I think Lilia, with the Staff of Flowing Water, Moonstone, plus Chemtech Putrefier is actually incredibly strong right now in the meta. You get massive healing reduction, you get a bunch of heals, a bunch of movement speed buffs, but it will be the Olaf. First picked away for Penn State in the jungle. Udyr's still up, bit of an interesting one to go the Olaf route.
Yeah, I agree. Olaf, what I suspect here, from understanding how D2 plays, they'll probably pick some sort of facilitation with the Olaf, which will allow it to scale. Whether that's like a Sivir speed up, Karma, Seraphine, Lulu, stuff that can actually allow the Olaf to become useful in the later stages.
Yep, the Thresh pickup here for Johns Hopkins, definitely one of the strong strong supports for a lot of the immobile AD carries. We could see something opens up doors for stuff like the Aphelios, which isn't necessarily the most meta of picks, but gives you a lot of hard scaling towards the late game. Still can do a lot of damage when you have access to the Lantern to really bail you out in team fights. Bears is something we haven't seen in pro play just yet, but does pop up a lot in solo queue right now. Instead, they're going to grab away the Mundo, which I think is a little bit interesting this early on.
Yeah, it's too early. It can just immediately be answered here, in theory, by Vayne. I'd like to see like a Vayne Karma here or a Vayne Seraphine, which will solidify scaling.
Yeah,
basically.
I think you
And
still have
also
Vayne up, you still have
facilitate the Olaf.
anything that itemizes Kraken Slayer is going to be perfectly fine in Mundo, pretty much.
Ooh, I don't like the
I
Karthus,
don't
but it
like
is
this. You see
Dystopia
Mundo
Reaper's
up.
one trick.
Yeah, they're going to lock it away. So Karthus goes at PSU more than likely in the AP carry position down in bot lane. Could possibly look for the
Dystopia
support
Reapers.
pick here before the pool gets pinched.
Yeah, Dystopia Reaper's best champion is Karthus. Plays a lot of it. I've played against it. It's pretty hard to play against. But against Mundo, it's very hard because Mundo is actually pretty happy to play against heavy AP damage with the Shen coming in. I mean, that's fine. I think Shen early is not terrible. There's not actually many meta counters to Shen, since I'd say Mordekaiser is not that good right now.
Or maybe a Malphite would be something we could see to try to like neutralize the lane and then just play for team fights later on. You don't get the split push that Shen can give, but Malphite's still perfectly fine, I think, in the 1v1 against Shen. One thing that I think the Karthus is going to open up here for Penn State later on is that option where you go double AD mid, top, and even an AD jungle. Yeah, it can incentivize early on the purchase of a Seeker's Arm Guard for JHU in mid lane, but you do have that option considering the AP already handled in your bot lane position. Karthus, of course, loves to be that sole AP carry. And Misfortune, the last takeaway from JHU is they ban away the Irelia, so try to take away some of those AD mid options.
Yeah, here maybe what I'd like to see. I like the Misfortune from JHU. It's a good blind pick. Likes it when people run into her. And also something else for Penn State here, they're developing a pretty heavy global comp where they're basically never alone on the map, with the Karthus and the Shen being able to facilitate like side laning. So what I'd like to see from PSU here is a strong mid laner that can side lane. The Irelia being taken away is a good identification of that. Tristana
well,
also another one.
Same
I'd say maybe the Lucian here would be really good. For
I think
PSU.
Lucian, yeah, it gives you a source of consistent damage. It lets you itemize Kraken Slayer still if you want to against the Dr. Mundo. So that would be what I expect to see in mid lane. You fulfill the AD carry role in a different position where it's still plenty viable.
Yeah, so the Gnar ban, I actually completely disagree with the Gnar ban. I'm of the opinion that Gnar is not a good champion, especially in coordinated play. But it makes sense being that Shen is picked already. Okay, the Cassio coming in. It's good against the Olaf, especially if you go Conquer on the Cassiopeia. You can basically just stand your ground and fight the Olaf. But blind, it is definitely punishable here. Yeah, definitely Lucian, don't want to pick the Lucian into that though. That's a very bad matchup.
Get really abused by Cassiopeia. Oh, that'd be an interesting support here. I think does very well into what JHU wants Penn State to pick though. They want Penn State to come on top of them in a lot of these team fights, go into Thresh, go into Misfortune, go into Cassiopeia, and Maokai is certainly going to be facilitating that type of
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Vayne mid here from Mr. Lazy. He's done it to me in the past.
Yeah, look, I'm not sure exactly the matchup with Cassiopeia's Vayne mid, a little bit more of a niche matchup, I would say, would be the word I'd use. But they definitely need some AD threat here, as Maokai also going to be piling more of the AP damage in teams, even itemizing. Yeah, you called it. Vayne mid for Penn State. Now JHU, they one last pick to round out here. Could flex the Cassiopeia top lane, technically speaking, into the Shen if they want to try to counterpick the Vayne, but be a bit of an interesting go here. I think if they want to do that one, you go with something maybe like the Pantheon here in mid lane.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I think. Yeah, the Aatrox is good.
They're just going to keep passing him in. They're going to pick the Aatrox.
Yeah, I actually like the Aatrox here. It's a good vacuum counter to Shen, but also he's enabled because Shen, Olaf, and actually Vayne want to get close to melee range to the Aatrox, which makes it very easy for him to play the game. But yeah, I actually like PSU's draft. It's like a very ball type composition that wants to just like run in with the Maokai ult and stuff like that, but also has some decent side laning with Vayne and a good anti-tank into the Mundo.
Yeah. Bit of an interesting, I think, draft in terms of where champs come where in pick order. Almost 1-1 to see that Cassiopeia flex top lane and nothing else to get the counter pick on Vayne, really try to punish that mid lane pick, because I think Vayne is certainly one of the AD carries, unlike Tristana, unlike the Lucian, that you can really try to pile onto early on. You see it a lot with Vayne top, where she can just get flapped early game in certain matchups. But instead, they're just going to keep going with what they got here. I think Penn definitely can look to play for later on. You have the Karthus to hard scale, you have Vayne to hard scale. Olaf and Chen are going to be able to at least keep up in utility. Given I'm guessing Olaf going to go the Stride Breaker this game after the range buffs on that one. And then JHU I think is pretty happy. I think Aatrox maybe a little bit off theme with the rest of their composition, given he's like more... Aatrox really wants to get in, where I think JHU actually runs a very good kite back style of composition against Penn State. Not really any way that Penn State can really stick and engage necessarily, even with the Ragnarok, with how much just peel back JHU has. So it'll be a bit interesting to see how Happy Unhappy fits in here on the World Eater in the top lane.
Yeah, I'd actually like to see how the Mundo functions here, because Mundo is actually very similar to other like meta champions like the Skarner and the Udyr, like playstyle wise, but his ganking is just simply worse, and his only job is basically just to be like a meat shield in the mid to late game. But the Vayne coming in is gonna make it really hard, especially with like I think Vayne gets prio over Cassio, although that matchup is not something I have any experience with.
A lot more volatile. I think that's very jungle-based volatility, because to get prio, both those champions at their shorter ranges are going to have to get up close and personal. So, might be a little bit dangerous, given if Olaf is running your lane, if Mundo's running your lane, lands a cleaver, lands a undertow, or not undertow, sorry, an axe. Be in a little bit of trouble, but it's going to be, I'm guessing Vayne staying mid lane.
Yeah, Mr. Lazy just locked him.
Well, not saying that Mr. Lazy goes bot lane. It's like a role swap almost.
Yeah. I mean, he could.
He could, yeah, he definitely could. It's not something I expect to see, especially with the current situation on both sides, but...
We shall see, indeed. The other thing that's weird about, honestly, is PSU's Maokai support. That really fell out of favor with the huge mana nerfs. I don't know how many patches ago, 2 or 3.
I think it was 3 patches ago. It was right after the preseason finished up, right when we started getting into the new year.
Yeah, Maokai is just eats mana now because his E cost increased a lot. I'm not sure in what way, if it was more later, earlier, or what.
It was earlier. I think later it ends up, later it ends up balancing out, but he definitely spends quite a bit more mana on the actual cast.
Yeah, I'd say definitely if the Olaf and the Vayne get ahead here, it's very easy for Penn State to just roll over Johns Hopkins. Since there's really actually not much they can do about them running in. They have no real peel for the Olaf. Or like the Maokai ultimate, really. It's very hard for them to play.
I don't know. Mundo and Aatrox really just don't... I mean, they're going to be trying to engage, they're going to be trying... Well, the rest of the team wants to kind of stay at arm's length. It'll be an interesting dynamic that JHU have to put together, but not one that they necessarily...
Yeah, well, it's a weird one, for sure. Some very unorthodox picks coming in from both sides, I'd say.
Yep, for sure. I mean, Karthus bot lane, not something we necessarily see that much in professional or amateur play.
Yeah, I actually think it's really strong. I've played it a bit on my Smurf account, and the amount of damage you can just do if you hit your Qs, actually, which is the hard part, is so crazy. And then your ultimate is just, it's very annoying to play
that's
against.
why you pick the champion most of the time, regardless, is the ability of Requiem to clean up fights, assist in top lane, assist in mid lane. Any of those like close trades you get are pretty much nullified by the fact that Karthus going to be sticking around. It's going to take him a little bit longer to hit level 6 than I think a lot of Karthus would like, given that he's going to have to share XP with Rooks, so... Gonna have to be really careful when Requiem comes online if you're Johns Hopkins. Other than that, I mean, both junglers have absurd clear speeds, so that's gonna be pretty mute. I'm expecting full clear on both sides into Crab. What camp they start on, it will be a bit interesting to watch, but
yeah, I think both junglers can actually solo start. Start that a lot of Mundo players do is actually Wolves, and then they clear the blue side, then recall, or they start Raptors, clear the red side, then recall. Because Mundo gets very low, actually, in his clear.
Yes, while it is
Where-
fast, he does take a lot of damage doing it.
Yeah, yeah. Olaf, on the other hand, very well known for having one of the fastest clears in the game. Can easily full clear around 315 and contest the Scuttle Crab.
Yep.
So.
Will be interesting to see. I kind of want to see FAPFF go towards top lane first, like early on. I don't think you're really going to be able to punish Dystopia Reaper necessarily on that first gank pathing on the Mundo. So maybe looking for a blue side start, clear blue with that wolf start that you were mentioning. And then go for the top side into maybe trying to find something on the Duckwings top lane. It's a little bit riskier because Mooch probably also pathing top with a red side start, but if you're looking for an early gank attempt, that's probably your best bet as the Mundo trying to go mid-top lane. Because bot lane, if Dystopia Reaper, given that it is his one trick, given that he has experience playing the champion in bot lane, I think he's going to be pretty hard to punish early on as a Mundo. So, without dashes, without engage. If you're looking at somebody like a J4, that'd be a little bit of an easier task to handle, is trying to get onto the Karthus early on, but I don't know, it's a little bit tough. Aatrox definitely, if you're looking at all the champions on JHU, probably having the most early game gank potential.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to talk about, actually. It's kind of scary, honestly, for Johns Hopkins, because they're losing in early game, and I actually think they're losing in late game because of the threat of the Karthus and the Vayne together with like the enabled Olaf with the Shen ultimate. It's really hard to play against, especially since the Mundo is essentially neutralized because of the Vayne. Misfortune and Cassio just like have all of the onus on their head to do as much damage as possible, but I don't know. It'll take them so hard. It'll take them so long to get online, and they'll probably at that point be down 2 or 3 dragons.
Yeah.
There's not much that they can really do.
I think it'll be interesting. I'm guessing that we're going to see a pretty hard contest on second Drake right when we start finishing first mythic items. It's not where JHU is necessarily strongest, but it's kind of, you're at the point where you can at least fight with Mundo, fight with Misfortune, and especially Aatrox with, I'm not sure if he goes Stridebreaker or Gordrinker nowadays, but either way, that's probably your best, one of your better bets as Johns Hopkins to really try to push for a lead in the earlier portion of the game and try to like thwart some of the Vayne Karthus scaling on Penn State, but it will certainly be interesting to see. Cassiopeia is going to go for the Conquer, so no phase rush on Cassio this time around.
Yeah, there's 2 things I want to talk about here. The big one being the Ghost for Mr. Lazy's Vayne instead of a different summoner spell. Definitely being super aggressive, looking for resets in a fight to truly carry the team fight. I think it's good that he recognizes he's probably the main threat on his team when it comes to mid to late fights. The other thing is, I don't actually like that Misfortune is taking Press the Attack in this lane. I'd like to see Comet, because in this lane, I don't think you ever can trade with Karthus or walk up to him. I think you just want to play for scaling almost, or until mid game when you actually can be stronger than the Karthus. You just really never want to approach him, or really any of the members on Penn State. You just want to stay as far away as possible.
Pretty much, and we're going to have to see if how Johns Hopkins chooses to pilot a little bit of a Frankenstein composition they've got going here around Mundo. As we're loading here into Game 1, is a best-of-3 series, so win one game, you are just one away from moving on in the playoffs. Lose one, and you drop the series.
Indeed. All right. So, looks like a standard 5-point coming in from Penn State. And actually, both teams really just standard 5-pointing.
I mean, besides Thresh, really not the best of level 1s here.
Mr. Lazy in a weird spot, honestly, for a 5-point. Getting spotted out by the Thresh. Could be capitalized on, honestly. I'd like to see Misfortune move over here. Because they know that Mr. Lazy is still in the bush, I think. While Rooks gets some early saplings to just be annoying. Potentially see where the Mundo starts. That one actually is going to land onto Misfortune. Not sure if he has Mana Flow banned on the Maokai.
I have no idea.
I can check right now here. He does, actually, so that is a pretty good start. Although he is at half mana, which is the nature of
Three
Maokai.
saplings, baby. That's how it's gonna look this game.
Yeah,
Mundo
it
is
looks
gonna
like
start the
Mundo.
Raptors.
Yeah, yeah.
So a bit of
I actually
damage.
like this start from Mooch. He's gonna read correctly that Mundo's gonna start topside and try to likely meet him on the bot crab. That'll give him a pretty good chance to double crab, actually. Really hard leash actually from Duckwing, so that'll be good to speed up the clear.
I didn't get to see. I'm sorry if Catalyst was watching. I did not see if he did the 125 Shen buff clear.
Oh yeah.
Even on the leash, it's super freaking strong. No Reaper's gonna get caught out here by the player lead. There's no just set pull up. You're gonna take a massive chunk of damage on level 1 though. That's gonna.
That is painful.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt quite a lot for this laning phase. Now, I mean, you gotta be careful because misfortune. Thresh, gotta hit level 2 first. Spark Flash, possibly going to look for something on that level 2 spike if they're gonna put this in. They do find it before grabbing the tower. Death Sentence though going wide means there's not really anything to capitalize on.
Yeah, so I expect Mundo to just recall now as he has completed. Oh, he won. Okay. That's gonna put him really far behind actually in his clear. While he's spending all this time moving to the wolves, Mooch has just already completed his 4th camp.
Yeah, he's gonna be able to get down to Krugs very quickly here before the initial spawn of Scuttle Crabs, so got plenty of time to get over there, maybe force something beforehand if he wants to try to get Ryo. And again, that's something we don't see a ton of junglers do, but if you already know what crab you're testing, you pretty have an idea of where the other junglers started. One thing you can do is always just walk into a lane as a jungler and force the enemy laner to back off. That pretty much secures you Ryo whether your laner can get it for you or not.
Aatrox moving in for some deep vision here. Realizes that Olaf is actually bot side.
Yep.
The bot lane for PSU does actually have Cryo here, so
Yep.
Mundo is likely going to have to give up both the crabs. He should just immediately run to the top crab. Mid Cryo is in favor of Johns Hopkins right now.
So they're, I guess, trying to get their bot lane to clear wave and come contest. This is really slow.
I think at this point for Mundo, you realize you've been had and just try to get your camps on respawn timers at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, Mooch is actually going to reset. This could give an opportunity for Mundo to get the top crab if he runs there immediately.
I think he's going to try to rapid first, probably assuming that Olaf just automatically ran towards topside, but again,
he actually there is a ward where he reset.
Oh yeah, there is. Never mind then.
Yeah, it looks like Mooch is. I actually don't like that. He does still end a camp heavy, but he definitely could have doubled. I thought for sure that Dystopia Reaper spotted him near the blue buff camp. Yeah, he now does realize that Mundo is topside, so he'll go back into his full clear. Basically a camp up, I'd say, because his respawn timer should be faster.
Ignite already down on Rook. Half flash by the Maokai. No mana to speak of as he will continue to take down lower and lower. Does not go through. Spark Flash flashing over with the heal. Looking for first blood. Going for it, but it is Rooks who grabs it with the heal off the auto attack. I Drive Car going to trade back 1 for 1. Going to say, even with the first blood, probably still more worth it for Johns Hopkins as they have that kill on the AD carry. Maokai gonna get a bit more mana for his troubles, but nothing too much of a loss there for the red team.
Ooh. Duckwing's in a really favorable position actually here. I'm really surprised since Aatrox usually just hard wins this matchup. Other things, that recall timing for Dystopia Reaper is really favorable for him. As iDrive Car takes a bad recall timing where the wave is pushing away from him. That's bad with no flash against the Maokai.
Yep.
Pings onto the dragon. Looks gonna be a first dragon for free there. Noticing the bot lane reset. Good call from Penn State.
Yeah, as always, you do have the Olaf as well, so Kane is grab lane power shot soloed as Duckwing is.
That's what's supposed to happen.
That's a lot of sweet spots. That's a lot of sweet spots. Well played there by Happy. Able to land the damage he needs to start pressuring the Shen off a bit in this lane.
Oh, he thinks level 6 could be a free kill here.
He has the World Ender. Could have probably popped it earlier if he wanted a bit of extra movement speed to try to chase down that Shen. But instead, Duckwing's going to have to blow the TP to get back to lane.
I actually would have flash for flash there because I think Shen's flash is much more valuable due to the ability to taunt flash and things of this nature, than the Aatrox flash, whose dash cooldown is much lower. As okay, the Dystopia Reaper messing up his wave a lot here for some reason.
Yeah.
As
That's gonna find him. Yeah, the slowdown by high drive car and the flash forward. Yeah, Dystopia Reaper is trying to go for the kill here. There's no other way for him to go. Finds the wall of pain, but is not gonna find the kill just yet. Ducklings is here. He's gonna find a trade kill and a spark flash. That's about all he's going to get. Is unfortunately able to limp away, so it does end up being a 1-for-1 again. Though the kill going on to that 80 carry. High drive car going to continue to be being strong. Aatrox getting an entire several plates as well as 2 waves down for the Shen and top wave. See, already a TP back in after the initial trade.
I don't actually like this decision making from Penn State here. I would have liked to see Duckwing stay bot and pushed out the wave for Dystopia Reaper, and Dystopia Reaper head top to catch the wave that Aatrox was pushing in. So across the team, it's just net neutral. Like Shen still might lose a little more compared to Aatrox, but at least every amount of gold is being picked up. But now Aatrox crashed about, I'd say, 2 stacked waves. So Penn State just didn't capitalize on that.
Despite the bot lane 2v2s here and 3v3s, about even in gold here, 11.6 on Hopkins to 11.5 for Penn State. So very even game throughout this lane portion.
Mr. Lazy purchases a 7-minute 30 call. Kind of strange. But
there is Ducklings not going to find any Qs here. Unhappy. Finally finds one. Now the trade's going. Unhappy still has the ultimate here. Could try to trade into the Shen a little bit more.
Mooch is here though.
Yeah, all 3 Qs. But finds the healing. The 3rd sweet spot. That's a solo kill on the Duckling. Rekko going to come in and try to finish the Aatrox off. Mooch going to assist that one down for the kill, but Allura trying to kill the Olaf finds it with the Fang. Bot lane. Spark Flash going for another kill. There comes the bullet time. Not able to find anything just yet. Spark Flash hung up with Brooks. Sophie Reaper taking down with the Ignite. iDrive car still perfectly fine on this portion. Spark Flash low as well. Brooks looking for the kill. Finds some healing and trying to stay alive. Spark Flash oh so very low. The Lantern Shield will get him out alive. And now Unhappy finds the teleport kill in bot lane. And it is disaster for PSU as they finally make a cross-map response.
Yeah, that's really bad for PSU, actually. In the bot lane, there was some split focus, it seemed, from Dystopia Reaper and Rooks. Rooks actually, I think, making the incorrect call and CCing up the Thresh while Misfortune was using the bullet time, while Dystopia Reaper was lay-wasting to the Misfortune. I think if they focused targets there, they could have definitely got the double kill. Not sure about the TP result, though. Still probably would have both died to the Aatrox. Other thing in top lane, if Allura didn't land that last Q on... Oh, as a fight happens in the mid lane here.
Yeah, just
right. Continuing on, as if Allura didn't land that final Q onto Mooch...
Shadow Dash misses from Duck.
Can't even talk for a second, too much action.
we had a quiet few minutes.
Yeah.
Of just peace and farming.
Yeah, but yeah, if Cassio didn't land that final Q onto Mooch there, he likely would have been able to turn that due to the Conqueror being procced. Cassio's E basically does no damage if there's not poison on the target.
Yeah, it's not even... It's realistically just an auto attack at that point.
Yeah.
For Cassio, PA is not cutting it for DPS.
Yeah, so at this point I think Penn State wants to try to get the second dragon. If they get the second dragon, they're in a fine spot despite being down in gold. Setting up for it, have some good prio in the bot lane due to the Karthus being able to just eat the waves over and over again.
You will also have Stand Unite top lane, where it's Unhappy not have TP up.
Just realizing the XP deficit in the top lane now. It's probably about 1.5 levels, but right now it is 2 due to the non-caught XP.
On this next wave is... Oh, Rooks is caught out here. Has Mooch here, but it is going to be 4v2, much quicker than Penn can levy. Fab trying to run away. Ragnarok pressed here by Mooch, looking for it, but the bullet time to be able to trade back to Fab, able to grab the kill. Lazy looking for it onto Allura, who does pop the Petrifying Gaze, but he goes down with a flash over from iDrive Car. And Penn State only able to pick up one so far. Sophie Reaper still continuing onward. iDrive Car gonna flash the mastery to BM. Sophie Reaper nowhere to go. Finally falls to his horses. Spark Flash ticks away at a Maokai E. Duckwing is gonna try to trade top lane. He was not able to proc to Stand United for the entire course of this fight. Still wants to look for an auto. The slow comes down. There's nowhere for the Maokai to go. Looking for on drive car, pops the E, can't find anything. And Penn State gonna
Duckwing's
lose
being
another
really
4.
conservative with his ultimate here, honestly.
I don't think he could
I would
proc
like to
because,
see him use it.
I think Unhappy was really pressuring him on a trigger, looking for the sweet spot to cancel.
I think at that point you just run away and try to use it at least once
Ooh,
as
good
the
to
taunt
taunt.
comes
Unhappy's
in.
really low here. He has a little bit of healing, but the minions.
Duckwings does have the flash. He could
No world under.
potentially.
There's no world under for Happy Unhappy. But yeah, Mooch is here. Happy Unhappy's dead. Flash away from Duckwings,
Yeah.
I think a little bit on the unnecessary side to just avoid trading over the kill. Mooch gonna find,
Ring around
finds
the
the
Rosie.
axe. There's a shutdown on Aatrox, so Penn State getting some go about. They do lose the dragon though for their efforts.
Yeah, at this point the misfortune is super accelerated actually, more than I would have expected. And same with the Cassio. Cassio actually having a lot of components right now. I do like the Seekers early though, as there's so much 80 damage threat onto her. But I wanted to talk about this matchup. I've been kind of panning over and looking at it. It honestly looks harder than the Lucian Cassia matchup, since I do believe that Vayne is lower range.
Yes, Vayne is lower range, especially when you factor in Lightbringer. Lucian gives you a lot of extra poke that you can go for. Vayne does not have that ability. As you well have Lucian, you have the calling, so if you do manage to take a fight low each side, you disengage, you can pop calling and try to pick someone off from outside of that engagement.
The other part is a lot of Vayne's damage comes from her tumble, and if you're grounded, you can't tumble. So
It's true.
it's a hard one.
Yeah, good please possibly here for iDrive guard, bot lane, so you can get it. Perfectly fine idea. If nothing else, card that has to come up and do some threat range. Yeah, they are going to freeze the bot lane. So
yeah, this is honestly a result of. Oh my goodness.
6-0 misfortune Q with some Lethality on the card. That's what it'll do. As Mooch is top lane, they're going to look for Happy Unhappy. Has the boost might just slow down the Aatrox. The Gore Drinker healing though. Top them off and super careful here on Karthus with bot lane. That wall of pain, he might be in a world of hurt.
The lane will actually unlock here. Ooh, that hook. Almost landing.
That was close, as well as the follow-up use from
Yep,
Reaper. Able to grab a lot of damage on Spark Flash.
Yeah, do you see what Dystopia Reaper's doing right now? I really don't like this. They're just going to try to freeze it again. It's very hard for them to walk up. I mean, Johns Hopkins should just freeze if Dystopia Reaper keeps pushing it in like that. But it looks like they won't.
They will just continue to shove waves back and forth. Reaper fishing for Qs.
Yeah, the Zonya's first from Cassio. I don't actually like that.
Mooch is here. They're going to look for it. Yeah, good flash
forward.
Actually, out of the lantern as well. Exhaust on the iDrive car. The damage won't be there just yet. It's a shutdown on
That is huge.
He's going to continue to look for it onto the thresh. Gets stunned up by the death sentence post-mortem. But does make it out alive. Does have 2 roaming down. They do have to be a little bit careful with these low health bars and low mana pools. As Allura as well as Fab can certainly get into this area in a hurry should they not be careful.
Yeah, that's really huge for Penn State. I don't know if it was a double shutdown. I know it was a huge one from the Misfortune. That'll give a lot of
I think it was 800
gold
total
to Olaf.
gold, I want to say. 800 total gold.
Yeah, that's huge for the Olaf because now he can just essentially run at his 2 squishies with really no fear in his mind because he can have the Shun ult with the Maokai ult following him and the Karthus ult to even follow it up.
Yeah, so he doesn't even have to hard commit necessarily, as he just can't get the regular. Trading pretty heavily here to Happy Unhappy. He does have the Gore Drink, so he's going to come a little bit back. But now that you have that Bramble Vest completion and the Ninja Tabby, Duckwings, despite being 20 CS down, still can trade pretty easily into the Aatrox. You have the % max health damage on the Q already, as well as a lot of armor and anti-healing. So happy for the unhappy part of the name. And he's just going to continue to do less and less damage, and Duckwings has the game continue forward.
Yeah, so, another huge Q on the Dystopia Reaper, but what I want to talk about is how the Aatrox builds have sort of been changing in general over the past couple weeks with the nerfs to Gore Drinker. A lot of people have been going Stride Breaker on Aatrox now, but I actually like the Gore Drinker this game. Not sure if you thought about going Stride Breaker, But in this game, Gourd Drinker is better than Stride Breaker because there's more
Oh
champs.
my
Oh, as the bullet time comes
goodness!
out! Oh my god! Holy crap.
Holy moly! The damage on iDrive car. Pretty much just one tap to you get a little bit of damage in the bullet time, but it ends up being the double up. That really stings in the end. Holy cow. And this is what, I guess this is what happens when you don't go Seeker's Arm Guard or card this in a lethality AD matchup. You just get one tap. And yeah,
the Herald drop
off.
here.
It's not gonna get charged.
I think this is just because it's timing out.
Yeah.
But what I was talking about with the Mythics as the third dragon is probably just going to be uncontested here.
Yeah, there's not much they can do to really. Duckwings is trading top lane A, so can't really.
Gourd Drinker tends to be more valuable against mostly melee comps.
Routed in trouble. Passive pop.
Oh, the Channel comes in.
Yeah, Channel comes in. Mr. Lazy going very low. Gets canceled by Aatrox. Now kiting away his path as team on Spark Flash and Brooks in an engagement. Mooch trying to find his way on the torch, and Mr. Lazy still kiting away. Does manage to get away from the Cassie who had to burn the Zonian Hourglass. The Olaf though still looking fast. One hit away. Finally the Ragnarok's push Allurex plus away, but it's a double axe for the double kill. The shutdowns come through for Mooch, and now Happy looking for the follow-up damage, looking for the sweet spots. Finds one, finds two. The resets come in, bequeathed to him by iDrive car. And Duckwings is going to find one on the backside, but it has ended up being a 3-4-3. 3 more kills on the iDrive car. 10 and 1 on the Misfortune.
Yeah, so that's really scary too, because Mooch actually had a shutdown of about, I think, 400 gold. Okay, I think Super Reaper's dead here.
Oh, he's just going to buy a little bit of time, actually. The flash form out there, well done over the Shadow Dash, but it's still going to fall down, so 700 gold to Duckwings. Hey. That was a really clean flash.
Yeah, the Dystopia Reaper actually landing a lot of lay wastes from his passive there.
Yep.
To allow that kill to be secured. Would have liked to see it on the Karthus, but at least they get the shutdown.
They do end up getting the shutdown in the end, yeah.
And the call that was bought at about 7 minutes almost completed here for Mr. Lazy.
Getting there, you get a little bit extra gold. Spark Flash might be dead here.
He has the flash. I think he's dead.
Yeah, good dodge away from Rook there underneath the death set. So yeah, good pick. Would like to see it on Mooch, not Rooks, but you take the kills where you can find them.
Yeah, I actually disagree. I think at this point, you probably want to distribute the gold as much as possible, and if you get a fed Maokai, the control you can have against this relatively short-range comp from Johns Hopkins can be really hard to play against. But I think either one is fine in the end.
I'm really not sure this card is actually an app lane assignment in this Misfortune anymore, to be honest. It can farm, yeah, but that's a really tricky one. Is Allurex just traded heavily onto Mr. Lazy, who gets stunned up, grounded the poison to take down Allura X. Basically doesn't have to lift a finger and the kill comes through.
It's really hard to play that matchup for the Vayne, because if you use your ultimate, the main thing that you get from that is the invisibility and the untargetability, but...
And then you gotta keep this right after you die, too. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Unlucky on that part.
The work ground just really...
Oh,
that's not
looking for it. They're under turret. The root comes in. Drive car is gone.
Wow.
Advancing 2 before. Well done for Rooks on the engage. And that kill does end up going over to Dystopia Reaper. Sadly, not a shutdown anymore, but nonetheless.
Yeah. Really good play from Rooks. Really knowing his limits on the champion and capitalizing on the mistake of iDrive Car. Who honestly I think is playing really overconfidently, as he does also purchase the QSS after he dies.
Yeah, as soon as he dies to the CC, he then purchases the QSS. That would be how you do it. Maybe the CC is getting me killed. Let me just purchase the QSS real quickly and solve that problem.
Yeah, here I think... Actually, I wouldn't mind seeing the Vayne in the side lane against the Aatrox. As I don't think either of them win against the Cassio, but the Vayne definitely can win against the Aatrox. So I think you want to maximize your winning points for Penn State. But yeah, the Ocean Dragon.
Vayne can farm into Cassiopeia. You don't necessarily win the 1v1, but you can at least farm, or Shen gonna have to wait till you're already back toward that tier 2 to be able to really step up to wave.
Yeah.
With Shadow Dash pretty much being nullified by an
Dragon in like 1 minute here.
This is a really important dragon
Should be
in Penn State. I think
Yeah.
Penn State yeah, they still have a lot of scaling aspects, but their scaling aspects of this team, the Vayne, the Karthus, are super far behind in this game to their
Yeah.
counterparts. So they're in a really
I
rough
think this is
spot.
going to be a game decider, honestly. Whoever wins this is probably going to be able to run away with the game,
Yeah,
at
if
least in
JHU are
theory.
able to secure, even though it is Cloud Soul, I mean, JHU, beautiful comp for Cloud Soul, in all honesty. You have Aatrox, Mundo, as well as Cassiopeia, who all are going to be perfectly fine with the Cloud Soul.
Yeah. Oh, Cassio potentially getting caught here.
Yeah, Moot's gonna get hooked up by the Desperate Sophie Reader. Does nullify a lot of damage to the Hourglass, and the sweet spot's there, and Allure actually able to find the kill on Karthus, who's down already. Requiem finally coming through with 2 kills already for Penn State. The QS has it down, but iDrive Car, you can't kite it. Olaf, 3 kills for Mooch, 1 for Karthus, and out of seemingly nowhere, Penn State 5 for 1 ace, and the Baron's up. They're gonna be able to get both.
I really like the positioning from Dystopia Reaper there. Although it seemed like he was kind of inting, walking into the bullet time. That position in that choke point essentially prevented the rest of the team from joining and threatening the Vayne in the backline there, so they could just get free damage. And the huge Karthus ultimate and the Olaf just being so far ahead. This looked like it could be a double here. I don't think Mundo will be able to get there by the
This
time.
should be Baron, especially with the Vayne here as well. Jen has Sunfire fully proc, he's getting better auto attack off. Thresh might be able to get out and spot it, but this is pretty much gone. So Penn State can actually, from what seemed like a very dire game state, gonna top one out, but Ducklings is gonna go for the play here. This could have been really hard
gonna have to flash.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I mean, I really assume they're gonna try to contest that Baron. You do not want to fight with it up when you just got it before you can reset. You get all that gold you grab from the fight. JHU might be able to grab the tier 1 mid here in exchange for the Baron. They're going to be able to even out that tower differential. Yeah, they will be able to grab the tier 1. So they do get 1 turn off it, so the standing gold is alleviated a little bit. But yeah, Penn State, really good play on the Baron. Again, very well done team fight to secure both objectives on the map. And now, you're going to still need another 10 minutes before anyone has a shot at that Dragon's Soul. And by that point, looking at the Vayne, you're looking at the Karthus. If you're JHU, you've been playing the early game very well so far for the most part. You gotta start getting kind of scared of some of these really hard carry scaling champions that Penn State are bringing to bear.
Yeah, so Rook's going with the Chemtech Putrefier actually, which is kind of strange since he doesn't really have a way to proc it. I guess just the cheaper option of the Grievous Wounds, although you can't really use, you can only use the upgraded version on that if you heal or shield somebody.
Yeah,
I wonder if it procs.
I don't really know that one. I guess.
I wonder if it procs on the Maokai passive.
It probably procs on the passive, yeah.
So yeah, that's not terrible. If he uses his passive, then gets like a big R off or something, he can apply 60% to a bunch of people. There's a fight potentially happening in the bot lane.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that interaction is on Maokai. Real weird.
Yeah, we can ask him after the game potentially.
Yeah, we'll ask him after the game what he finds that is. Console Figure and Happy, who's already taunted up. Very low. Good lantern though from Spark Flash, able to get him out and away. Maokai throws the ultimate out, grabs a small rune of fat, but nothing much other than that. Bullet time going to be used here to clear out the wave a bit. Spark Flash knows, looking for the pick, finds it. Onto Rooks, good be asked to try to continue to deny this turret take, but there's still one Baron up cannon. It's going to be plucking away at that health bar ever so slowly. Nothing really that JHU can do to really deal with that one. And they do not have any side lane set up to get anything else, so that might be the only objective taken with the Baron buff this time around.
Yeah, I don't really like that. I like the use of the Misfortune ult there, but I don't like the execution of it. Like, it's a good idea to use it, but you didn't get the cannon minion, which is the main threat to the turret, in the bullet time, so it really was just kind of a waste, in my opinion.
Yeah, you try to lay, you try to hope someone else can maybe get the cannon, but no one really able to get that far, get into Penn State's line to annihilate it. Fap not doing exactly the damage with the cleavers neither. It is just more of a moot point.
It's actually really hard for both these teams to siege without Baron, I'd say.
Oh,
the only hope...
Probably caught out here. Pops the ultimate. Good hook for Sparkbox. Though, is Requiem, I think, way too early to do anything. Thresh might go down. Just barely survives. That is a big cooldown off the Penn State side of things. Will be coming up. Maybe just in time for the next dragon. It'll be close. But
Yeah, I think there, you either commit both globals, the Shen and the Karthus ultimate, or you just let Mr. Lazy die. I think in that situation you just let him die, because I think he'll be back up for the
Requiem
dragon.
a little bit longer.
Yeah, the Requiem.
All right, Nightlark has told us in chat it is Font of Life which procs Putrefier.
Okay.
So it does work on his ulti. It is going to work on his W. So and his Q.
Yeah.
Yeah, so plenty of stuff you can proc Putrefier on.
Yeah, that Requiem ultimate being burned, kind of bad honestly, because the dragon is spawning here in a couple seconds. We'll be down, which is a huge teamfight ultimate.
Yeah, maybe if they can stall it out for a little bit longer, get that extra 30 seconds till the dragon spawns before they pick a fight. So post-spawn.
It's just so hard to get control against the Maokai though.
Maybe able to save it till the Requiem is back up and available. Bane is going to grab her ulti back up. So
Pings in the mid lane here, looking like they might not want to contest the dragon and instead push mid.
A lot of time left on Dystopia Reaper's ultimate. Requiem not
I think they can actually delay it.
Oh,
Maokai ultimate.
Flash is not buying it, but Rooks having some flash away already. Duckwing's already using the ultimate. He's back into our Rooks, buying some time until he has popped the ultimate. They're looking for more, but the miasma zoning away Penn for now. Rooks lands on Dystopia Reaper. He's going to take some full time damage. He's able to kite away to the side. No further CC.
That Maokai damage just eating them alive.
Yeah, Maokai plus the Imperial Mandate definitely doing quite a bit, and that's going to allow Penn to grab the dragon off the back half of it. No kills go down. Requiem back up for Dystopia Reaper. Penn State on Soul Point with a 3,000 gold lead, looking very good at the moment. The threat of iDrive Car from the early game pretty well neutralized. It's still something I have to be wary of. Still something you can't just say, it's worthless anymore. It's still going to do quite a bit of damage here on the Misfortune, but you have your Olaf 10-3. Karthus coming online, 3 items. Vane's got 2 items. You have the Twisted Rage base completed. Shenberry taking Maokai doing a bunch of damage as well as having multi-grievous wounds. So, Penn State certainly feeling good about their position. If you're on Johns Hopkins side, yeah, just keep trying to play around iDrive Car and Allura. They're still really strong at this point in the game. Cassiopeia still 5-2, 3 completed items. Working on that 4th one. I would like to see the Seraph's Embrace completed here.
Yeah, I don't actually like the Oblivion Orb on the Cassiopeia.
Yeah, I think you should have enough Grievous Wounds elsewhere.
I don't even think you need Grievous Wounds, really. This game. Olaf is
Shield Bow, Olaf, Maokai healing.
It's not as necessary. I think it's enough to have it on the Mundo as he...
That might be dead for Webcam. Does not go down just yet, but Miasma only covers one way in, so Mooch able to find that kill of gold. We're talking about items in bot build pass. Penn State trying to get some kills.
Yeah, it looks like it will be the Baron start, honestly. I don't think Johns Hopkins can actually contest this with the amount of control Maokai and Karthus provide.
Yeah, Mooch gonna get a little bit on the caught outside of things here. That said, finds its way on to Mr. Lazy, but they're not gonna commit. Now Mooch able to grab one kill with full time. Massive damage from the Misfortune. Duckwing's able to find nobody. Mooch soon to follow. Shut down for Allura. Karthus does find one onto the back tunnel to iDrive Car, and that might just prevent the Baron take.
Oh, I don't think it. I think they can actually do the Baron. Cassiopeia has full mana. She can. Aatrox can tank it up.
That is a massive series of ultimates from
Mundo's up too. I think that is the Baron.
Yeah, this should be Baron here for John Hopkins.
Maybe
that's
maybe
the
not.
pile-on fight you like to see when you run.
This is gonna be close for Johns Hopkins. There's the Maokai Slapling running in.
Oh no! Oh, the ulti actually might tag both of them here.
You shall not pass from Rooks.
Oh, I'm happy. I'm happy. He needs to find the Gordrigger. Does find it. Finds the sweet spot. That's gonna be the kill over to Allura. That's another shutdown on the Cassiopeia, but that does mean that you cannot do the Baron just yet. So Rooks gives over the goal, but he has done his job with due diligence. In that Johns Hopkins not going to be able to actually get the objective off the fight. Yes, you get a ton of gold onto your Cassiopeia, onto your Misfortune, but you not get the big purple worm, which means you are not going to be taking turrets anytime in the near future. And we're probably going to see not too much happen here for the next 150 until that Soul Point break spawns.
Yeah, I'd actually like to see Penn State actually pressure the Baron here with probably the Shen in the bot lane. Because they probably want to just provide pressure with the Shen in the bot lane. And the fact that they have 2 teleports on the Shen, technically with his teleport and the ultimate, they can try to burn the Aatrox teleport. And then they can just have a split push threat that can't exactly be answered, and then they'll have a 4v5 essentially. But we'll see what happens. Could just go for an ARAM, it's always good.
Yeah, playing a little bit more reserve, just kind of clearing up Mooch's camps for him. If you're on Penn's play side, Lazy taking a red buff card that takes pretty much everything else. As we're doing a little bit of a resetting of lane assignments. I'm not sure if Penn's really comfortable staying out in the bot lane. They don't have a ton of deep vision there. There's that one ward towards blue buff. They're starting to set some more vision line up now to really defend that. So a lot of investment around this dragon for this soul Drake spawn. Penn State definitely want to get their hands on that. We might see Johns Hopkins try to trade for Baron if they can get in here and clear out some vision, but
yeah, that is a
that's
potential.
Obviously still an option after that last team fight.
Yeah, both teams can actually melt Baron really fast. The 280 carries, they're building, I guess Mr. Lazy's not building Kraken Slayer, but has the true damage on the W. And then the 2 mages, Cassio and Parthas, will do it really fast.
Yep.
As the vision is cleared out from
there's still a crab there, so they do have some idea what's going on Penn State side, but yeah, they're gonna start it up. Yeah, 13 seconds on the Drake. They're not gonna be able to finish off, I don't think, quick enough, so they decide to try to go for the fight. Instead, they do not want to get the goal. Spark Flash, flash forward to Utopia Reaper, gonna buy some time with John's Hourglass. Good stun on a Mr. Lazy, able to USS away. Utopia Reaper finally goes down, is unhappy. Happy dies as well. The Bane untouched, undeterred. 1 kill over. Mooch gonna fall here to Leon.
The Thresh is gonna die too.
Utopia Reaper, sorry, flies to Leon. Lure X also down.
That's probably gonna be the game, honestly.
Yeah, this probably is the game end. Unfortunately, gonna throw the bullet time in the wrong direction as Rook's gonna be able to run this one out and away.
Yeah, you can't really catch Karthus. He's not exactly the one you want, since he has the Zanyas, and if he dies, he can just get his ult off for free.
Yeah, and he's still hitting 2 people with a lay waste as well. It's really difficult to play around that. This should just be the end here. They got 30 seconds on Allure. You do have iDrive card, but there's no bullet time to clear out these waves, so Mooch still with GA could literally just die of misfortune if he's not being super careful about it. I like that she's about to pop and try to defend, but yeah, Mr. Lazy gonna go for the one-shot play. Does grab it, but it's traded back in the end. Shouldn't deter too much. Mooch still alive, but there is some members picking up. Mooch just gonna pop the Ragnarok, gonna continue to hit the Nexus. Trying to end this game, and PSU will finish her off. It was not the cleanest. It was a little bit on the rocky side, but they do end up taking game 1. 4K in the lead, 2 kills up, and no soul to really bring to bear, but they do finish it in 33 minutes.
Yeah, really good game. I think the way they executed their team fights, except for that one blunder in the mid lane, was really good from Penn State. I think iDrive Car needed to get a little bit better ultimates in the fights to actually carry there. But I think in the end, the draft, like the difference in theme from the Aatrox Mundo compared to the Cassio Misfortune is what ultimately made the game really hard for Johns Hopkins.
Man, I mean, there's still definitely good stuff you go on. Bot lane went swimmingly in laning phase for the side of iDrive, Car, and Spark Flash. So you do have a bunch of positives on John Hopkins. Mid lane was definitely somewhere they flourished. I mean, it was a very good matchup for Cassiopeia, but nonetheless, I mean, it's not all doom and gloom for Johns Hopkins. It was not by any means what I would consider a smash of a game. It was very close for a very long time. Penn State played better in the team fights, and they ended up converting on the objectives. And that's going to be pretty much the deciding factor here for game 1. We're going to see if the adaptations come in for game 2 to really bring that out. But certainly no time to rest for your laurels here if you're on the side of Penn State. Still have to win one more game to take this one home. We'll be back for draft here in just a minute, I guess. So yeah, we'll be back in just a minute. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with you in a sec. All right, welcome back for Game 2 of Johns Hopkins University Blossom versus Penn State Division II. If you're just joining us here after Game 1, Penn State, it was a close game, but they do come out ahead, taking the Nexus first, as we're going to be getting into Game 2 draft here in just a second.
Yeah, we'll see what both teams change from the first game. They're going to be on the opposite sides now, so Johns Hopkins will be on blue, and Penn State will be on red. Likely change the draft dynamic a bit. I know that Penn State Division II likes to give their mid laner Mr. Lazy counterpick a lot of the time, and Duckwings likes to play some weak side top. And the bot lane plays pretty similar things in the same games. The Karthus, definitely a staple, with some other traditional 80 carries. And Johns Hopkins, I think, needs to get some more
We're not doing
thematic
pro
stuff.
draft this time. Okay.
Oh, no pro draft? Okay.
No pro draft. We're just going into it. Glad I changed all those graphics. All right.
Maybe not.
We dodged. All right. Yeah. All right. Never mind. We're gonna wait a little bit longer. It's like, oh. Just gonna get everyone here back in the lobby. All right. Now we're started in pro draft.
All right.
Okay. First ban here.
Let's see. I'd suspect maybe a Karthus ban. Maybe a Mundo, not a Mundo ban, an Olaf ban.
Yeah.
Fiora, same thing.
So there's gonna probably be the same few bans here to start, just banning out comfort picks, banning out strong champions on the meta. Have to see what JHU. I'll be very curious what JHU decides to first pick here. If they're gonna take a lot of priority on the jungle, like Penn State decided to, if they want more priority somewhere else on the map. A match that they feel is strong. So they're gonna keep banning their traditional bans here thus far.
Yeah, the Fiddle again. Although the jungle nerfs to farming champions were pretty substantial, I do think Fiddlesticks is still pretty good. Because he can power farm to level 6 and gank one of H's best champs. Kaisa, same ban again. Olaf, the switch up. I'm not sure what it was the first game. But definitely not Olaf.
It was Lilia and no, it was Penn State. It was Hecker.
Alright, so Penn State banned Hecker in this game.
Yep.
So Lilia open, Udyr open, Skarner open, Karma and Seraphine and Gragas open. Lilia first pick, seemingly. Yep.
Yeah, it was banned out by Penn State first rotation last time, so this time picked up, which means probably.
I'd like to see an answer. Yeah, Udyr or Skarner.
I think Udyr's probably
Udyr
stronger.
and Skarner.
Udyr, you get a chance to get early priority in the jungle matchup. You're a really good duelist. Yeah, your later game utility isn't necessarily as high as Skarner's can be when you with the Impale, with the E, but you still get a lot of bear slaps off, and you're really fast and tanky, so.
Yeah, both of them pretty similar champions, stylistically. Pretty good against Lilia. Can keep up with her speed, actually. Udyr, especially with the clear speed.
So. I'm expecting to probably see this as a phase rush Udyr as well to go into Lilia. And Jhin pick up. Yeah,
standard.
Safe blind pick. Doesn't have the greatest lane. Scales really hard. One shots deers like Lilia. Let's see what JHU want to take into it here. As I do like Penn State actually picking up the 80 carry first here and then counter picking support matchup. I like it a lot actually. That's more than likely to be Tristana mid I'd have to say for Johns Hopkins, but is of course very flexible pick. As can
yeah, I do think
lane.
Tristana is much better in the mid lane. It's very hard to actually manage your wave properly as Tristana bot. Can leave you prone to ganks against higher level opponents. But in mid lane, it's just so broken. Okay, as the true Orianna comes in, confirming the Tristana bot.
Yeah, I'm not sure about picking Orianna this early on. Certainly a bit interesting. I think I'd like to see that Tristana stay up as a flex pick for as long as possible. That way you can draw some bans possibly, other places, then be able to flex it down. But Penn State definitely knowing where that's going now. And they also, I don't even know if you want to blind. Maokai's still perfectly fine here. They did really well in the last game, so it's not anything to hurt. But they'll possibly squeak out another advantage should they have had pick their mid laner into Orianna and tried to guess at the theme of John Hopkins. But
yeah, so for the Penn State mid laner here, actually, I'd like to see it picked on 4 instead of on 5, because they know that
already face up. You don't want to blind your top laner and get counter picked on red side. That's normally not what you're looking to do.
Yeah, the other thing is the double AP from Lilia Ori leaves open the possibility of an AP mid laner to build Verdant Barrier, which is not balanced item. It will basically make it so neither champion will do damage to you.
Can be quite a bit difficult. Could he? I'm not sure, Mr. Lazy, Mr. Champo, but you could look to see something like an artillery mage here. Isn't as great in Orianna, but certainly does well into Orianna and can keep arm's length.
I expect an Azir here.
Azir is probably the more common option for control mage here in this matchup. Also works really well with Maokai, Udyr, and Jhin. So.
Yeah, I think I don't like Azir, but I think Mr. Lazy likes Azir. Another option is Victor here.
Azir nerfs though this patch do hurt a lot on his
could go Zoe here. Zoe's always good. Fits with like every comp. Honestly, might go Rise. I think he likes the Rise a lot.
Yeah, yep. That's gonna be the pickup again. Lock the Rise.
Just a mind reader.
You know too much.
But yeah, I actually don't like the Rise too much. Especially against Orianna. Orianna can outspace the Rise a lot in the lane. The other thing that Mr. Lazy does on Rise that I heavily disagree with is the Electrocute instead of the Phase Rush. With the Nautilus coming in here, I really don't like the Nautilus here. I mean, it kind of works into the Maokai. I'd like to see.
It lets you play aggressive early, I think, on Tristana and try to forge leads early in laning phase. In team fights, it's fine because you're missing a lot of initiation on JHU. But you can always get that top lane here. You have to blind anyway, so the Ornn is still up. Instead, they're gonna go.
Oh, why? Here, Camille. I think Camille, Gangplank, Malphite.
Yeah, all 3 here are perfectly fine for Penn State as well. Malphite. Yeah, solid pickup. Works really well with their team fight. You already have like a kind of wombo combat thing you can set up with Maokai and Jhin and Udyr going in first, and then Malphite following up with the Unstoppable Force. Rise as well, locking down stuff with the Rune Prison, as well as just being the general machine gun mage he is. Going to be doing a lot of damage to a lot of these squishy characters here on JHU, especially when Gnar pops out of Mega. So I think Penn State put together themselves a very solid competition.
Yeah, I think the PSU's draft advantage, I'd say, is probably like 60 or 70% to like 20 or 30%, or 30 or 40%, rather.
Hey, you leave 10% for variance.
Yeah,
10%,
we'll see.
10% is a terrible game and no one wins.
Yeah, the opening from Johns Hopkins is good. Like, it's a good blank canvas, the Lilia story. But the Nautilus and Gnar aren't really on theme with it. The Nautilus and Gnar like to drag along the 3 of them, which isn't very good. And then perfect response from Penn State with the Malphite. Really messes up the Tristana Orianna. Beats Gnar in lane. Really fits with the theme of the Penn State team comp. To just kind of be like a mid-rangey team fight comp. But yeah, the only thing that I don't really like from Penn State's is the Rise, and it's not even that bad. I think Azir here or Victor here would be better, but it's
Victor
still really...
Victor would be pretty good against Lilia and Tristana. I mean, Orianna can play into Victor. It's not that bad of a match, especially if you do the Burst Barrier. So.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion that Victor counters Orianna and Orianna counters Rise. So.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm not really sure what else we get into here talking point wise, because it is more or less just Penn State wants to fight around Dragon, and whoever fights around Dragon in the current meta state seems to win the game. That's what we've seen so far. That's what we expect to continue to see. And John Hopkins, again, going a little bit more of a unconventional style composition. I think I would have liked to see them pull. I would have liked to see Tristan or the Orianna probably come in phase 2 if they wanted to do that, get the counter pick mid lane or top lane, force Penn State to choose either instead of revealing the flex too early on. Because generally speaking, you do want that double AD around Lilia.
Yeah.
A bit strange to see where it came through. Still, again, not terrible. Does have bold delivery on Nautilus and Nari. Can help out Lilia. Tristana is going to be a good source of DPS. So it's not like JHU does not have tools to get some stuff done. Especially early game, they should have quite a bit of lane priority. Bot lane should have very heavy lane priority before Maokai can start really spamming saplings. As well as top side of the map, Gnar. Yeah, Malphite does win the lane phase. Gnar should still be able to bully him in early levels with the range advantage. It's gonna, I think, a little bit depend more on the Udyr and Lilia pathing. Who's gonna go where first? If anyone can get a gank off. I know hard farming is still generally the better accepted practice at the moment, but some opportunities if you look for it here. I think here, especially for Mooch on the Udyr. That champion's early game is nuts.
I think Udyr, like Lilia can outpath Udyr like speed-wise if she gets a good leash and does like the double take on like the blue Gromp correctly. But it's definitely much harder than Udyr's full clear, and they're still about the same speed, I'd say. And Udyr's is definitely healthier, so we'll see how this goes. Gnar definitely gets prio over Malphite. Ori, in theory, should get prio over Ryze. I don't know what Mr. Lazy's shenanigans will lead to. And I think the Tristana Nautilus will get prio over the Jhin Maokai. So we'll see how.
It should have prio early on, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the pathing will work. Definitely some interesting ones last game. But yeah. The 4 minutes until game.
Yeah. A little bit of time. This is the crappy thing about doing pro draft is you just get way too much time to try to talk about some stuff that really just kind of making your own points on loop here at this point in the draft phase.
Yeah.
But just kind of gonna have to, again, I think Penn State can definitely get abused in certain areas in the early game. Bot lane is still, of course, an issue of contention. I think iDrive Car on the shot actually has a lot of emphasis on his part this time. Because, yeah, Misfortune is a lot of damage. But you are a low mobility champion. You're really relying on Thresh to let you out of bad situations. You have to be very careful on your positioning. Tristana, you have one rocket jump and it resets on kills. You can start doing some crazy stuff when the takedowns start chaining together. And when you do a lot of other damage, you do a lot of other setup with Allura, with Happy, and with Spark Flash to try to enable you to get some of these kills in team fights, you can start doing some really cool stuff around like first, second dragon, where you just kill the entire enemy team seemingly out of nowhere and can chase them across the map.
Yeah, the flip side of that is it's really hard to play against the Udyr and the Malphite, especially as the AD carry. The Malphite just gonna go in the backline. In some words, outplay the Tristana.
Quote unquote.
Yeah.
Malphite and his outplay button.
Yeah, I'd say this game, Penn State's draft is so much easier to play. Like, it's super straightforward what they want to do. Front-to-back team fighting with the Malphite gauge. But JHU's is a team fight comp, but they have... It's a lot based on like the Gnar bar and how well the top laner could manage his Gnar bar in the game. And the other issue is that I do believe PSU actually outscales this game. Malphite definitely outscales Gnar. Ryze definitely outscales Orianna. Maokai outscales Nautilus. I'd say Jhin Trist is even, and Udyr Lilia is even to Lilia-sided. So... yeah, it's definitely going to be hard, especially when Malphite and the Udyr get so big that they're like basically unkillable. So yeah, we'll see.
Certainly could be something we have to look for this game. And again, it all ends up coming down to execution situations like this when you do have these more or less similar style compositions. Both these teams, of course, wanting to 5v5. Penn State can try to level Mr. Lazy in the side lane on the Rise to get some like pseudo split push going without really so much to answer. Same with Happy, Unhappy on the Gnar. Can look to be a side laner, but generally not what they want to do here relative to their teammates. But
Mm-hmm.
when you look at these both 5v5, it's going to come down to execution. We saw last game, iDrive Car, Spark Flash, able to get really early leads, as well as Allura on their respective pitches, couldn't end up putting together with the rest of their team, and that's where Penn State came out ahead. So I think if they can get leads, especially on Tristana, who's one of the game's like kind of those last remaining hyper carries, where you used to back in the day be able to put all your gold on an 80 carry and it just wins you the game by proxy of how much damage you can do. Tristana's kind of one of the last ones that's really still around in any serious prevalence.
Yeah.
So there's a possibility for iDrive Car to have a little bit more power here if he gets as fed on the misfortune from last game. Not sure if Dystopia Reaper on the Jin going to be a different dynamic. His player on, besides the card, this is a lot squishier, a lot harder to really get consistent damage out early in the game, because skill shots, that sort of thing. So it's just kind of going to have to see an execution. I think there are plenty of options, plenty of ways for Johns Hopkins to pull ahead in this game and try to forge a victory. But Penn State certainly having a very good situation for themselves set up here post-draft.
Yeah, something I'd like to see here. The Lilia, I think, definitely should go for the Moonstone build, as there's enough damage just around the board.
There's too much damage.
Yeah, needs some utility. Weird stuff. Runes. Obviously, the Electrocute Rise for Mr. Lazy. Strange. Dark Harvest on Jin has fallen out of favor in general for the fleet footwork. I like the Phase Rush on the Lilia instead of the Dark Harvest this game. The junglers that can like match your clear speed and speed, like the Olaf, Skarner, and Udyr, Phase Rush tends to be better there. But in general, pretty standard runes.
Yeah,
Pretty good setup.
Just waiting on the load in at this point. Only reportable one in this game is Dystopia Reaper, the one not without a skin.
Yeah.
He's got just going base. Still not base Jin. Of all the champions, you can just go base skin on Jin. Probably one of the best.
Yeah, Jin's got really a lot of good skins.
Yeah, base skin is
I don't even know
really
if there's
clean.
a bad one.
Nope. So at the very least, respectable. But if we saw like an Udyr without a skin here, I'd be a little bit less happy.
Oh yeah.
That champion's base skin is a bit of a mess. But
we got the definitely not Udyr.
Definitely not Udyr. Yep, give me costume and round, acting like he is an actual champion kit. As we're going to get here into Game 2, Penn State looking to close it out here with a victory. Johns Hopkins, one more opportunity to stay in the C-Star playoffs.
So, not a 5-point coming out from Johns Hopkins initially. The bot lane,
they're going to go for cheese.
Going into the bush.
This is going to be level 1 cheese.
30 seconds.
So, Rook's getting some early saplings down. Something you can do against the Maokai support actually is when they're on red side, they'll always do what Rooks is doing right now, putting the saplings in the tri-bush and the bush between the dragon and the red buff. You can actually path in a way that you can catch them out very easily when they're actually in the dragon pit. Like if you have a Blitzcrank, say, you just wait in the tri-bush for the sapling to come and you just hook him over the wall. And it's either a kill or a flash burn. It's a very predictable thing they do.
Yep, and not going to be any super level 1 action here for the next about, 20 seconds until this bot lane wave comes down and Jin and Maokai have finished their fake leash, so then we'll get a little bit of action, but interesting enough, both junglers starting top side this time around.
Yeah, that'll actually favor, I believe, Johns Hopkins since the bot lane. Oh, could be a potential trade here. Oh, a flash on level 1.
Yeah, flash on level 1. They do get the flash away to Dystopia Reaper to take down, but he's not going to die just yet. They're going to get a big chunk on the Jin as well as summer spells, but it's 2 burns from Spark Flash as well.
That's really good, I think, for Johns Hopkins. Another potential hook coming in here. Lands.
But they're going to be able to kite away as this client is really good.
Yeah. If you're a hook engaged support, trading your flash for the enemy AD carry flash is always worth. Spark Flash, I don't think has Hex Flash in this situation, but in that case, it's even better to do it. So level 2 is going to be dinked here very soon, actually.
Yeah,
First for
Spark
Johns
Flash finds
Hopkins.
another Tread Line. Immediate exhaust on the iDrive card, not going to let him get any damage down onto Dystopia Reaper. Yeah, the best of scenarios here in the bot lanes, they're probably going to need a bailout here from Mooch very soon.
Yep, Mooch actually opted to skip the Krugs, interestingly.
Yeah, Dystopia had to already pick up first stack as well. He had to pick up refillables and a control ward.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
not an
Brooks can't even hold his wave here under the threat of the Nautilus, so he really feels bad here. The XP deficit going to be massive.
I'd like to see Allura hard shove this wave into a reset here, actually, but looks like he won't be able
You gotta
to.
be careful. He is positioning bottom pocket against the Udyr, who is also bot
could
side.
be a potential
They might
kill
have
here.
suspected him to start blue on the leash, so he's right there in the bottom pocket. Frostbite just has to burn the flash to steal the speed, but the Rune Prison comes down. Allura, 1 hour out attack will do it, and Mooch with the Phoenix Dance burn grabs first blood. Really well done on the kill. I think a mistake by Allura. Trying to guess the jungle path. He thought he'd be topside, but the Udyr started top as well, and now he's gonna grab that bottom side scuttle as well. Counter to the bottom lane defense, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, so with that gank, Mooch actually is going to be able to pick up the bot crab. And the early back coming in from Dystopia Reaper kind of benefits them as they get the wave bouncing back to give them priority in the bot lane.
Still gonna be a lot of minion division. Oh, that's a really unlucky lollipop from Spark Flash. That's where the bus-sized hitbox of Dredgeline plays a little bit against your favor.
Top lane, pretty standard. Duckling's actually ahead in CS. Lane in a pretty good spot for him, I'd say, as Mooch is here.
Yeah, I do have a
The
vision
ward
here in
just
Tri-Bush,
died
yeah.
in the tri-bush, actually.
Oh, yeah. Happy on happy. Might look to overcommit here. Has used the stun. Meganar gonna fade away here, so gonna be once again very mobile. Has the dash, uses it, but he's slowed by the boulder, and now Mooch still looking for the bear slap. Finds it, but I don't think they have the time to get the damage down. Yeah, they have to go away. They are gonna get the flash. Pretty worthwhile in the top lane for the Malphite, but that's
So-
that. Well played by Happy on Happy to.
I actually disagree. I think he played it very poorly. That acting from Duckwings was so poor that I think he should have backed off immediately as he started walking up there. It's so uncharacteristic of the Malphite in a lane like this to ever walk up that him walking up should be an immediate sign that someone is there. So I don't think he would have had to burn the flash in that case, but it's good that he lived.
It's really, his war timing was extraordinarily unfortunate.
Yeah.
That was really unfortunate. Literally, it's like in an FPS game like Rainbow Six. You just look away for a second, and now we're going to fight bot lane in a moment. I look away. Dystopia Reaper going to go down. The exhaust down. They're going to get one trade kill, but it goes on to the support once again.
Mr. Lazy's here.
Yeah, Mr. Lazy here. Spark Flash not going to get this one, but Rook's no mana. Can't necessarily go for the advantage yet. Finally gets the rejuvenation, I believe, off a biscuit. So Mr. Lazy able to grab the trade kill. 2 for 1 in favor of Penn State. Fap FF gonna be down here to pick up the wave, but he's a little late. And that's also gonna be first Dragon as Mooch pathing through his bot side, gonna skip the Gromp clear to grab this first Ocean.
Good decision from Dystopia Reaper here to go mid lane, as it looks like Fap is trying to hold the wave here. Getting pretty low.
Find the Lilia, phase rush proc, so Deer should be able to run away. Did not find the Eep.
So it's very hard to freeze the lane as the Tristana. It's good that it was pulled by the Lilia, but not much can be done as the ult top lane.
Ooh, Duckling is level 6 on Happy. He gets the damage, but it is a Malphite. He is 2 armor items, so sorry, Nar, you do no damage.
Yeah, mostly as a Gnar, every time you're out of Mega, you just want to try to use your ultimate because the cooldown gets reset every time.
You're never going to be in Mega without an ultimate.
Yeah. Since you have no resources, no point to not use it, especially if you're trying to reset like you just did.
A lot of plates coming down here, but that doesn't grab one off onto Drive Car. Gonna be
the TP from Mr. Lazy.
Oh yeah, Mr. Lazy coming with the TP. I Drive Car going to use the rock to jump away. Mr. Lazy going very low, but Spark Flash also in kind. One more attack for Dystopia Reaper to do it. Mr. Lazy instead gonna grab the kill. Really good teleport there from Eyes. I didn't even see it coming in. Thought we were just gonna have a little bit of running away from Udyr action.
Yeah, so the only other thing is that Mr. Lazy is going to be down a bit in XP and CS from these rooms, but it's good,
Yeah.
I think, to get him accelerated.
It's definitely helping out Dystopia Reaper, who's still very behind on the bot lane.
Yeah, the other thing is
CS.
Mooch is going to be able to soak this cannon wave, which with the XP changes to the jungle, just absolutely huge for any jungler. Him holding the wave too, really good.
every juggler when his laner goes for a rum. Ah, yes. How unfortunate,
Finally, I get
how
XP.
unfortunate all this XP just so happens to be lying here.
Yeah, really good spot for Penn State, actually, as the team might say that outscales with First Dragon and the lead.
Yeah, about
But I
500
think
gold.
Mr. Lazy's building towards Everfrost. I hope he is.
Everfrost is really, really good. Very smooth power curve as well. With Link, you do have that option to go for the Killer Gem. You don't have that, like, 1,250 gold to completion buy that Leandri's and Ludens has. Which is really nice. Very smooth power spikes. And Rise is pushing back on that, making it really easy to land his abilities.
Oh, the Unstoppable Force comes in top.
Grabs it on to Happy on Happy. Has the double bounce. Mooch, though, coming in, trying to find the bear stance. Goes Phoenix, trying to get some damage. Can't land anything else. And now bot lane a fight. Good job by iDrive Car to input buffer.
Lily is here, though.
Yeah, no flash from Brooks. They're going to have to use it. Ultimate flash forward from Spark Flash. Grabs something on Snowy River. The Ignite's down. No able to find it. That flash forward. Double sleep. No damage to follow up, though. There comes the Eve. Watch out, Fap. Does not get away. Jin finally grab the kill. Ends up being 1-for-1, but they're going to continue on to Rooks. Who'll grab a little bit of healing, but it's not going to out-damage Tristana. iDrive Car. 2 kills off the play bot side. 2-for-1 trade. Johns Hopkins probably okay with that one.
Looks like Mooch is gonna take the Herald here as the Gnar comes in. This could be actually a solo kill.
Oh yeah,
here.
stun underturned. Aggro is rocked from the Bombing Cinder, and he finds it. Happy on Happy. Does grab it in the top lane. Finally, he says, if I can't do damage to you because you rush tabbies, I'm just gonna make the tower do the damage for me.
Yeah, huge misplay from Ducklings there. Was in a really good spot in the top lane. Didn't really need to walk up there as the lane was pushing back toward him. We'll likely try to TP back top here or just drop the wave. So now he's super far behind in the top lane. As the next dragon will be coming up shortly, I believe.
Yeah, minute 25 here on the next Claude break. Penn State's still gonna get the trade though. You get the Herald in top lane despite the kill, despite the trade bot lane, so it's still getting something for the trouble. Gold about 200 in the lead of Johns Hopkins, so still very, very close between these two teams. And once again, we're seeing a lot of that gold coming in on iDrive Car, up 10 CS and 2 kills in the lane matchup.
Yeah, but the lanes are all basically behind for Penn State. Mr. Lazy's a little ahead because of his kills, but overall behind. The dragon is the only thing really keeping them in, and then the gold that will be in the pocket of Mooch whenever he decides to drop that Herald. As he is bot lane right now, takes the blast cone over, potentially looking for something.
Spark Flash is looking for something here, I think, out of this backside bush.
It's Happy on Happy good at the top.
Happy on Happy going in, has the ult still available, I believe. Definitely though, gonna be able to cut over this one. Happy on Happy doesn't really need to overcommit here by any means. I think he's trying to wait on his TP to come up and try to do this dragon fight, as Fap FF is going to be in the area that I think John Hopkins wants to try to go for this one. Rise.
I actually think that Duckwings should be available to TP down.
Yeah.
His ultimate in this fight, especially against iDrive Car, will be so useful if Johns Hopkins decides to contest.
Yeah, they have the Prime bot lane. They are don't have the Prime mid lane, so it's kind of a W Reaper though, gonna be hooked away, put down. There comes the Death Charge. If he can get out of this one, it's very good Penn State, but the ulti from iDrive Car will secure it. The killing spree for the Tristana, 4-1 on the champion. That's gonna dampen, I believe, Penn State's chances here of getting this dragon. They are gonna try to put Herald mid to try to get some plates. Convert on the play, so still more or less trying to trade both ways here. But probably equal plates going down bot lane with Tristana, who just shreds towers.
Yep, top lane still kind of suffering. Probably about 1.5 levels down.
Yeah, there's a level.
Yeah.
It is going to be Dragon here for John Hopkins, so very much similar to what we saw in Game 1. Where just kind of going to trade the first 2 dragons, go cross-map plays where we can, and Penn State bot lane still very much behind. And they're gonna look for the play. Good buffer from iDrive Car. Gonna grab some damage on Rook. Teleport in from the Gnar. Happy and Happy gonna grab this one as well as the Lilia in the area. It was the overcrit from Penn State. Dopey Reaper pays the price. Mr. Lazy was in the area, but there's nothing he can do in that situation. 5-1 now on the Tristana. I believe it is FabFF also grabbing a kill in the scuffle. And now Mr. Lazy in trouble. The dive comes through. Spark Flash does go down 1-for-1, but the tower is going to fall as well. John Hopkins are looking really good so far in this game. As once we hit the 12-minute mark, almost 3K gold lead as well as first tower secured.
Yeah, some disrespect coming in from Penn State, basically across the board here. In every lane, I'd say, besides jungle. Duckwing's getting solo killed in the top lane. Oh, as trading in the mid lane.
Well done by
Oh, a TP in the mid lane could potentially
yeah,
be
they're
a
going to try
kill
to look for it here with Mr. Lazy. I don't know what Allure is doing.
Greeting for the play.
Yeah, Giga greeting. Holy moly. That was,
as I say, disrespect. Disrespect.
I understand you're not taking the tower damage, but that is still a Valkyrie.
Flash in trouble here.
Yeah, he's dead as well. They're trying to get a kill to Mr. Lazy. No, Boots can take it with Phoenix Dash, still fine. And now they're going to look for Fast.
Oh, the chem tank.
Can't find the Lilia just yet. The slow not going to land. They are going to get the mid lane turret, though. All 5 plates. Fast going to grab a little bit of damage on the Boots here, but this finally
hit the turret. Hit the turret.
He goes down to the turret. Oh, man, this is...
Interesting one.
This is an interesting one. Still 5-1 on Mr. Lazy. You're feeling pretty good about that one in the trade for your Udyr. You get the tower. Still gold lead, though, over onto the side of John Hopkins. This Tristana just, by and large, monstrous. Rise eventually going to catch up to... I think Rise 9 actually might be caught up. 6,900 nope, still 600 gold behind the Tristana. Did go for the Luden, so sadly no Everfrost here on the Rise, but for the speed. And flat pen the armor gives you, the passive there gives you.
Yeah, I like another item purchase I like is the Leandries.
Happy
Oh my
doing it.
goodness, I just can't talk.
Might be a little bit power, so we can chase forward with Spark Flash. Duckwing is good ulti away, not gonna give away the kill.
Yeah, every time I try to talk about anything, item, game state, immediate fight.
Welcome to not professional play.
But I do like the purchase of the Leandries for the Orianna. The team, Penn State, is very tanky. Pretty much across the board. Even Rise gets kind of tanky, as a lot of his items do give him health. Hook misses. Chem tank.
Finds it on a Spark Flash. Nautilus, very tanky, has proc the Avatar. They're looking on to Tristana. Can't get the way on iDrive. They'll settle for the kill on the Spark Flash. The Nautilus just going to pay for the sins of the AD carry. As he will still take the L. Tristana lives another day. The shutdown preserved 600 gold. That's a 900 kill. 900 gold kill if you manage to find your way onto iDrive Car. And Dragon gonna be up here in about a minute and a half. Penn State does have a good vision line here. I'm not sure how much of it's going to expire before this Dragon. But definitely in a good situation here to try to contest this third break of the game and continue to stack towards that ever-present sole win condition that both these teams really want to this big very fun game. Tobia Reaper taking a big chunk of damage, almost goes down after the ultimate. Happy on happy.
Tristana had Gale Force there. That's a kill.
Not up. Boots is, I don't think strong enough just hit to 1v1 the Gnar. Stride Breaker very strong. I think after that they might have to give a lot of the priority in the straight. Gonna give it the opportunity here. John Hopkins gonna be able to clear out, I think, a lot of this vision here. And the spot side jungle plays a good bit of vision of their own. So Penn State kind of just ceding the pressure they had just established. iDrive Car probably gonna take it down. Nope, just barely not able to do it. So the turn shall stand for another wave or two. Gonna get a good test here.
Yeah, I think both these teams have the potential to win this fight as it's so close. At the moment, I think if Gnar can build his rage effectively, it can be a win as Hook mid lane. And Penn State taking a lot of poke here, but Mr. Lazy is on the flank. Gnar also about equally low as he's building some of his rage.
Yep, just kind of, I think, running into Sapling half attention. Builds up that rage bar for him.
Tristana actually resetting here. It looks like they might want to be eating this.
A little bit of a weak play, but then they had the vision fire, they could have probably still walked in. A little scared of Mr. Lazy on the rise. That's kind of get away with the freebie. They blow the fast mid,
Mr. Lazy
the tower, but freebie nonetheless, Dragon.
Something I noted, Mr. Lazy still not building the Verdant Barrier here. Would be really valuable this game, not only for the magic resist provided against the Lilia, who seems to be going AP, and the Orianna, but the Banshee's Veil against like the Gnar and the Nautilus is still extremely good. Hopefully we'll see it third. Because I actually don't think Zhonya's is super necessary this game.
Yeah, and you already have your 2 cores, so this is the part where Rise's build can go a few different ways, depending on what you are really looking for.
Yeah, the other item I don't really like, the Sunfire on Malphite, I'd rather see the Chem Tank. As the Chem Tank Malphite is forced to be reckoned with. The rock running at you with high speed.
The CDR is very underrated on that item now. This is really
I don't think
good.
Penn State
great. Yeah, this is great for Penn State actually. Holy, they managed to just walk at the rift. They burned RSTP. This is second Herald, so it really doesn't have that much actual value to it, especially when you're bringing all 5 members into the fray. So, bit of a blunder there from Johns Hopkins. Penn State able to burn a very important side lane summoner as well. So. That's not going to be up for this next Infernal Dragon, whereas Duckwings, it'll be close on his teleport. Mr. Lazy does have his available as well, so gonna have at least one TP advantage here for Penn State.
Yeah, I think at this point, there's not really much to mention. I kind of mentioned it earlier. I don't really like the Kraken Slayer on the Tristana. I think this game you definitely want the Gale Force as the Malphite ultimate, and like the Jhin stuff, and being able to run away from the Maokai and the Udyr is pretty essential. But I do like the Phantom Dancer second. Phantom Dancer second on a lot of AD carries is really underrated, I think, because of the move speed it gives you.
Yeah, move speed, stacking attacks, kind of like what old Rage Blade passive was. So.
Yep.
Really nice to Tristana as well.
But yeah, the Lilia unfortunately not building the Moonstone, as we said.
Gonna go damage on Leandries.
Something else is, whenever you have 2 or more Leandries or like Demonic Embraces on your team, the damage actually doesn't stack. It just reactivates the like proc of the Leandries, so you actually you only get 1 Leandry proc if you're taking the same person. So it's inefficient to have 2 Leandries purchasers on the same team, because the damage they get is lowered, basically.
Yep, and of course a lot of Leandry's power coming off of that very strong passive to continue doing damage for quite a while on some of these champions after the fact of the ability or damage taken. So it's gonna hurt a little bit on the damage spread here for Johns Hopkins, but nonetheless, 6-1 on the Tron. 2 completed items, a force to be reckoned with against really anyone on Penn State, including Mr. Lazy, as he is still not necessarily invincible yet on the rise. Has a few more items before he hits that classic late game rise state where he just feels like there's nothing you can do to kill this champion.
It's really hard for, as you can see, Spark Flash losing a lot of his HP. Really hard for Johns Hopkins to actually get in and clear out vision from Penn State, due to the Maokai's just high impressiveness with the saplings. As also at this point, Duckwings, honestly, I think he's unkillable by Gnar in the side lane now.
He has to really screw up, yeah. You gotta really screw up on the Malphite to like actually die to the Gnar.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, but I think Penn State's in a really good position now, especially with the Dragon coming up, Maokai there nice and early to get some saplings down. Otherwise, everyone backed, so yeah. Orianna in the top lane does have teleport,
Verdant Barrier
but...
on rise. We have the Verdant Barrier on rise. It's happening.
Okay, that's actually a big
All right.
completion.
Big completion.
That's a big completion. for the
Not
fight.
gonna be stacked at all, but big completion.
Yeah, can provide a little bit of match resist. If he survives on probably 100 HP or less, the Verdant Barrier was the reason. So,
Much.
yeah, it looks like they're gonna not contest this one again.
No, they're gonna come back in. They're just popping Herald mid.
They're heralding.
They're gonna try to contest
I
after
think it's just one shot. Dragon.
Yeah, Dragon's
It's just
gone, but they are gonna try to maybe take the fight. Yep. Hook lands on the Mr. Lazy. That's your primary target. 4-man knockoff. And Mr. Lazy trying to ult away from sleep. Coming through. He does get through the portal. The Sophie Reaper now left to defend himself against 2 Mooch. Trying to feel for the AD carry. Mr. Lazy has already popped away. Ida Cars does grab Malphite in the back, and the ult non-effective. And now the Sophie Reaper trying to kite away from Nar, but that's a call attached in his own right. Double kill for Mooch. And Tristana gonna continue to push down into the bot lane. Rook's looking for more. Here comes the curtain calls. Mr. Lazy
Ooh,
also going
Mr. Lazy,
in.
great flash.
Allura, not going down,
my
but
God,
yeah,
hit
but
your
there's the
spells.
Leandri's burn. Rook's able to grab the kill. The support from Penn State headhunting. They do lose an inhibitor turret mid lane, but they grab Soul Point Dragon. They're gonna stay even in gold, and they do get 4 members of Johns Hopkins sent back to the fountain. I actually didn't see how Duckling's where he was in that fight, but the Unstoppable Force was using the AD carry, didn't die, so I'm gonna say iDrive car positioning was pretty darn good, considering he's still at full HP.
Yeah, I think what happened was there was the main part of the fight where Lily and Nar jumped in. Then there was like a separate fight where I think Rooks and Duckwings were fighting iDrive car and Spark Flash, like towards the pixel brush. But pretty good for Penn State, honestly. Soul Point, and then they, what was that? 2 for 4.
It was a 2 for 4, and this is including the 4-man depth charge from Spark Flash to kick off the fight, as well as a pretty decent sleep out of Lilia. Rise, Mr. Lazy just able to get off the Realm Warp before it finalized, so
Yeah.
gets away.
Some,
Otherwise, Rise dies early.
Only thing left for Penn State, I think, is if they get this bounty on Mr. Lazy or Dystopia Reaper from iDrive Car, game is just, I think, over. Like, that amount of gold on one of the carries will just swing it so much.
Especially considering Dystopia Reaper is still legitimately a full item behind his counterpart in iDrive Car. The Infinity Edge for Sean is going to be massive for any following fights that we see. Happy can look for this. He is 2 level now, but was 2 levels ahead of Duckwings. He's taking a fair amount of chip damage.
Yeah. Mooch actually used his chem tank there to try to catch out iDrive Car, so that will be on cooldown for a little bit, I think.
It's like a 60-second cooldown, I want to say, but I'm not entirely sure. And we're going to get a bit more of a lull state here. Is only major victim up is Baron. It's just going to be one of those vision dances that we see quite often in these stalled out games where both teams kind of waiting on their next item completion. Rise on 3 items. You're looking for Udyr. He's just going for the Force of Nature. So is Malphite.
Yeah. Something in this situation I'd like to see is, at this point, I don't really think the Rise needs the blue buff. I'd like to see it on the Maokai, so he can basically just permanently apply like the pressure of the saplings around the Baron in this case, and then the Soul in a couple minutes. It'll be really, really hard for Johns Hopkins to walk in against a blue buffed Maokai at this state of the game.
Yeah, a lot of saplings. Lot of saplings. Coming through off that one.
But yeah, as you said, low state, not really too much happening.
Yeah, but just kind of waiting on
Which is-
items. Gonna continue to contest for vision around this Baron pit. Continue to contest for lane priority. Gonna keep setting people to side lanes. Someone's gonna have to respond to this top lane push here. Would like to see actually Dystopia Reaper just rotate up quickly. As again, there's no objective on the map for a minute.
Mr. Lazy here actually hovering bot lane. They could look for a play onto Happy Unhappy.
It's a little risky with Dragon up in a minute. I think a lot of people trying to save their cooldowns. Is almost have iDrive Car's heal back up. Allura not gonna have TP back up yet. Happy Unhappy not gonna flash. Aruk's flash.
It looks like
Happy. This might be a problem as Mr. Lazy here as well. Happy does get rooted up. There's the root president. Duckwing will grab the kill. There's the re-engage from Duckwing. 3 members in. Drive car gonna barely get away. Has to flash heal away. The sleep from FabFF goes down, but the damage is already done. That is so many cooldowns, so many summoners burned from Johns Hopkins and Penn State. Now gonna have full control over this Dragon Pit. off the turn from Duckwings. There's not
Yeah,
much
really-
they can really do. Is I drive car does grab the ulti on the Mooch, so get another very key cooldown burn here by the Penn State jungler. Has to be careful.
I think
though.
Mooch needs to get over to the
yeah,
dragon.
Mooch needs to start moving on over. You just do not have unstoppable force, so picking this fight's gonna be a little bit more difficult. Red Warp also down as well as Curtain Call. So Penn State is fighting this without any R button. Shockwave still available on alert to try to kick this thing off and try to find the fight they're looking for. Nautilus already down very low. Dragon going low, but Slick's trying to kill Mooch. Looking for the fight, finds him, but the Shockwave finds him. And now Penn State cutting away, low health bars all around, but the turn by Ducklings finds Fab FF. And now Ducklings pocket forward, Mr. Lazy one-shot Tristana. And that'll be the 5-man clean ace for Penn State. No one falls down, and they are looking to advance on the Baron. There's your Infernal Soul. 10 kills to 20, 3K gold lead out of basically nowhere for PSU. And that will be the big purple worm to boot. And now the game is finally at 28 minutes. Broken wide open.
Yeah, really good stuff from Penn State. The control that they asserted after Happy and Happy misstep there with the huge unstoppable force from Duckwing really just basically made that dragon fight really, really hard for Johns Hopkins because Gnar was nowhere near Mega basically in that fight. Despite Penn State having no ultimates, their champions aren't exactly reliant on their ultimates. The Jhin, the Ryze, the Udyr, not really reliant on it. Even the Maokai, his ultimate is really only an afterthought, I think. Malphite is really the only one that needs their ultimate to team fight. Whereas on the side of Johns Hopkins, they really need all their ultimates, except for maybe the Buster Shot from Tristana.
Yep. Now Penn State gonna try to use this Baron buff here. I actually really like this habit of this, just putting Rooks in top lane where they know there's no members from Johns Hopkins, just to get that wave pushed up, start threatening another side lane. Try to divide this Johns Hopkins force. So, like what Penn State is doing so far, trying to spread this Baron buff out as much as possible, trying to get as much objective control as possible around these turrets. They're going to get this tier 2 top lane. That is a massive wave stacked up. 2 cannons already, a third on its way into the top side of the map. Mid lane also pushing in.
Yeah, that's going to be a little hard to clear.
Cannons is, well, I mean, one's really low, but they're just going to try
I
to
wish they
rotate.
really stayed with that wave, actually.
Yeah, that's a massive minion wave. They're going to try to get mid lane, though, instead. Mr. Lazy did go for a recall, now has the death cap completed.
Yeah, Mr. Lazy's absolutely huge. He's been huge for a while, but now he's even more huge. The death cap with the 3 individual Infernal Drakes, the Infernal Dragon. He's going to do so much damage. It's going to be crazy. But yeah, I think good pressure.
They will eventually see Penn State taking that top lane more a little bit, then push into maybe Malphite, but they're going to look for moves. Not able to find anything. Very fast. 2 in bot lane here. Penn State going to push Happy, Unhappy off the turret. Mr. Lazy, pretty uncontestable even without the giant mountain of a rock sitting next to him.
Something I'd like to see for Mr. Lazy here is to use his ultimate to potentially sink the minion base.
Happy finds a stun up Mr. Lazy, though. It's going to be huge. He's down, shut down. I drive car finds the kill, and now the depth charge on Dugan. Duckwing, nothing he can do here. The unstoppable force not yet used, looking for the turn. Mooch grabs it. 3-man ulti from Duckwing. And that's going to try to start the fight, but I drive car still alive. He's exhausted. He's going to be taken down, taken out. And Penn State, they had the initial screw up, but they make the turn. Duckwings again on the Malphite, just showing why this champion is basically a cheat code in team fights. And Penn State,
yeah,
fight
Mr. Lazy.
game.
Yeah, it's endable, I think. They have the Jhin available. They do have small minion wave, I think, coming.
Yeah, I think
at the very least,
yeah,
doubling
they
him.
can just have Mooch take this. Udyr cannot die.
Dystopia Reaper trolling a bit, I think. Trying to get the bot lane turret for some reason.
This is a bit, let's clear some minions, boys.
Maybe they want to get the
they
inhib
don't
turret.
want to end the game yet. They're going to try to get bot lane turret here instead. They ran out of Baron buff. They see
Open up the Mr. Lazy TPing in for some reason.
They get one. Stop. Oh, the Jhin. Ignite comes down. He's really feels the flash. Penn State maybe over
Mr. Lazy's here, though.
Mr. Lazy taking a lot of damage. Good time to avoid some more, but he hooks back in and down again. assistant to get back out of bounds. Shutdown from Sylvia Reaper goes on I-Drive guard. Penn State lose three members. Off what
Kind
it
of
can only be
troll,
an
honestly, I
overstay.
think. I think they could have ended the game if Dystopia Reaper just committed to hitting the Nexus turrets. At the very least, they could have double and hit with mid-bot and gotten away.
And got Nexus
But
turret, maybe a Nexus turret or two as well.
Yeah,
Really scary. looking back
definitely
on
some
Elder.
miscommunication. But yeah, the item is completed here. The Demonic Embrace for Lilia. I really don't like that item at all. I think it's a very useless item. Feels really terrible to buy that item. I'd rather see Dead Man's Plate maybe, or if you want more damage, Void Staff at this point.
Void Staff is a really gold efficient item, even more so I think this season than the previous season. How
Yeah,
much,
Void Staff is actually
yeah,
really
that's
crazy.
insane. 40% Magic Pen is a little crazy for how much
Only
that item
for
costs.
2400.
Yeah, that's really insane. Especially when you get in the later side of the game, because, I mean, you have a Force of Nature here on Gnar. Even the Demonic Embrace on Liz is giving you something. Nautilus also itemizing MR, and that's not including these just standard MR you get from scaling. And First Flash maybe on the wrong side of the wall here. He's going to go down. Tobia Reaper, though, falls as well. I-Drive Car goes in for an assassination on the enemy AD carry. Ends up being a 1-for-1 still advantage to JHU. They eliminate the support. They eliminate the AD carry for the support, but they are going to be lacking a critical element of engage now for this Elder fight.
I think Penn State needs to just delay here. They have the mid and the bot lane pushing in. They don't want to fight. They don't want the Elder to go low.
Ooh, they're
They
going to
just
have to
want-
wait out Mega Gnar here, as well as Happy Unhappy does have that full rage bar built up. Elder is going to reset as Maokai just kind of almost solo forcing a lot of Johns Hopkins out of the pit area with these massive damage saplings.
Yeah, as soon as that Mega Gnar goes down, the window of
Yeah,
opportunity
there's
for
Mega
JHU.
Gnar down, and there's the engage. They're looking for the jungler. They're trying to find the pick, and yeah, Mr. Lazy grabs the kill. Now Mooch looking forward even further. The Shockwave comes through on a 3, but there's no follow-up damage. I-Drive Car's all alone. The Orianna can't even get close to this team fight. Triple kill for Mr. Lazy. Ends up getting hooked back, and there comes the depth charge. Mr. Lazy falling very low. Allure, though, has to go golden. Quadra kill. Will it be the Penta? It will. Mr. Lazy on the rise. He had 2 goof-ups towards the end of the game, and he's going to bring it home with the full pentakill. Minions doing the work for Penn State. They're going to close out this series 2-0. GG, well played.
Yeah, really good in the end there for Mr. Lazy. Honestly, really surprised how that ended up with the 4v5 essentially. Really good playing around the minion waves plus the Mega Gnar. Really showcasing how terrible that champion is, the Gnar, and how exploitable it is. But we'll see how they do in the future playoffs. GG's.
Yep, well played. Both teams. Was a close one for quite a while in both games. Penn State ends up winning a few team fights, and they are going to come out on top and advance in the playoff bracket. Yeah, well played all, and I think that's all we got here for today. We're going to try to get some more, for those of you who are PSU LCS watchers, try to get some more games in when I'm told when they're happening. But until then, thank you guys for watching. I've been Sioka,
I've been Vale.
and we'll catch you guys back next time on the Rift.
See ya.